And you're wondering, why does her age matter at all? Because her age would also have an impact on her ability to have children. Because if Meghan Markle is 4 years older than what we have been led to believe, it makes it even more difficult to believe that she was able to get pregnant so quickly.
Samantha Markle has never told me a lie. Every single thing that she has said about either you or Meghan has checked out factually.
Don't look at me, I want my privacy. You know, you can't be saying it out of both sides of your mouth, and it's totally a contradiction.
Something, in my opinion, missing in their eyes. It didn't seem real to me.
Something major just dropped, and people are doing double takes everywhere. Samantha Markle is back in the spotlight, and this time she says she's got real proof about Meghan Markle's actual age, setting off a wave of debate online. For years, Meghan's story looked polished and steady. But now questions are popping up fast, and not everyone is buying the official version anymore.
And she is now suing Meghan. You're prepared to testify for Samantha against Meghan? Is that correct?
That's the whole thing. The Scooby character gets information from Meghan, but
odd little man.
It's all lies.
Samantha claims certain details don't add up, and she's not holding back at all. She's pointing to documents, timelines, and past statements that she says tell a completely different story from what the public has heard. Now that this info is spreading, people are digging deeper than ever, trying to figure out what's fact and what might have been overlooked. Social media is buzzing, opinions are clashing, and the pressure is building as more eyes lock onto this situation. Is this just a claim getting blown out of proportion?
How can you get your age so wrong?
Or is there actually something surprising hiding in plain sight? Stay tuned, because what's coming next could shift how people see this whole story. For years, Samantha Markle has been speaking out, dropping small hints that many ignored at first, but now some are starting to take a second look. What once sounded like background noise is getting fresh attention, and people are wondering if those early warnings were dismissed too quickly. According to Samantha, Meghan's public timeline doesn't fully line up the way it's been presented. While the media showed a clean, picture-perfect story, Samantha kept pointing out small details that felt off, like tiny cracks in a polished image.
Many people out there have been speculating on that Meghan Markle has lied about her age. Is she actually older?
Look closer at every birthday post, every milestone, every carefully shared moment. What if those details aren't as simple as they seem? This situation is turning into more than just family tension. It's all about dates, patterns, and gaps that leave people with more questions than answers. When Samantha first brought this up, many brushed it off as personal drama instead of looking deeper. But over time, old photos, archived interviews, and public records started resurfacing. Now people are paying real attention. What once got ignored is being picked apart online, with viewers zooming in and asking questions they never even considered before. To be clear, none of this is confirmed as fact.
And when you're pregnant, there's not a pillow under your skirt. And there's live footage of her walking towards camera with her abdomen swaying left to right in a black and white checkered dress.
It's all part of an ongoing conversation, and people are seeing it from completely different angles. But it keeps blowing up because the same questions keep coming back again and again. When something keeps resurfacing like that, curiosity grows fast, and people want answers. Some observers point to moments where past interviews, school timelines, and early life stories don't fully match up. That alone doesn't prove anything, but it leaves room for different interpretations. And in a world where everything gets analyzed frame by frame, even small details can turn into major talking points quickly.
I'm going to quote Tom Bauer by saying, he said, look, we all laughed at Samantha and she was right, and everything she said has come true.
It also raises a bigger issue about image and branding, because celebrities carefully shape how they're seen. That makes people wonder how much of any public story is fully real and how much is adjusted for the spotlight. And that's not just about Meghan. It applies across the entire entertainment world. Still, Samantha hasn't changed her message. She says her concerns come from personal memories and experiences that don't fully match what's been shared publicly. That's what keeps this conversation alive. Samantha points to early moments she believes don't match the public version most people know. She recalls childhood memories where Meghan was said to be a certain age, but when lined up, some feel the timing doesn't fit neatly. Again, none of this is confirmed. It's all interpretation. But the conversation keeps getting louder as people revisit the same details. What makes it interesting is how opinion can flip.
This is a copy of 17 magazine, and it was published in March of 1997. In it, it mentions our Megzy from Los Angeles and that she was 21 years old at the time of publication. That would make her birth year at around 1976.
Someone once dismissed can suddenly be taken seriously when new discussions echo what they said before. It doesn't prove anything, but more people are listening now. This goes beyond one claim. It's about how stories are shaped and how fast public perception can change when new angles show up. Some who rechecked old photos say a few moments don't fully match the timeline. Others think Meghan looked older in certain images, which proves nothing but sparks more debate. Through it all, Samantha has stayed consistent. She says she's not stirring drama, just connecting details that don't seem to line up. As Meghan's image grew more polished, Samantha's concerns faded but never stopped. She frames it like a puzzle. If the pieces don't match, something feels off. No matter how strong a public image is, questions don't just disappear. They stick around, waiting for a closer look. And that's exactly what she keeps pushing for. Her main point stays simple. If small details feel unclear, people start questioning the bigger picture, not as a claim, but as a lingering question that spreads. It didn't blow up overnight either. It moved quietly, like a conversation people couldn't drop. Then things shift again. Samantha isn't the only one revisiting this. Thomas Markle also shared his side, adding a new layer. By most accounts, he's not chasing drama, just recalling years of everyday moments like birthdays and milestones. He says when Meghan's public story appeared, something didn't feel right. The timeline looked polished, almost too perfect, and that's where his memory started clashing with what he saw. He claims some moments don't fully match the public version.
Your other daughter, Samantha Markle, a woman who you know I have a lot of respect for, and I've said publicly, and I will say it again because I know she's the subject at the moment of quite a vicious attack by the liberal American media.
At first, he questioned himself, but after checking old photos and keepsakes, he felt parts didn't line up. Not drastically different, but enough to make people pause. Some see normal mix-ups, others think it deserves a closer look. That's where things stand now. From his view, he remembers key milestones clearly, but when compared to the widely shared timeline, he feels there are gaps that stand out. Some say those gaps are hard to ignore. None of this is confirmed fact. It's based on personal accounts. But what keeps people talking is how these perspectives seem to overlap. It becomes less about one detail and more about how different versions of a story can exist at the same time. And when they don't align, questions start building fast. When Thomas shared his side, the reaction wasn't supportive. Many dismissed him, saying he could be misremembering, but he insists these were major life moments he wouldn't forget. He pointed to specific memories, a graduation outfit, a birthday dinner, even a dated Christmas card. Not vague flashes, but real events tied to real dates. That's when he felt something deeper might not add up. If public profiles don't match what he remembers, it raises the question, was the story slightly refined for the spotlight? Then things took a sharp turn. For years, people said there was no solid proof, just opinions, but something surfaced that got everyone talking. An old 17 magazine issue from March 1997 started circulating online, featuring Meghan. What grabbed attention wasn't just the feature, it was the age listed next to her name. According to that page, she was labeled as 21 years old, not mid-teens. And this wasn't just a random rumor. It added even more fuel to the debate. It was printed, published, and archived. That's why it stood out. If Meghan was born in August 1981, she would have been in her mid-teens in early 1997, likely still in high school, which made the timeline questions get louder fast.
Original here.
I hope you're having the best birthday you've ever had. Thank you for everything.
People started asking questions right away. Some said it could be a printing error or someone with the same name. And those are possible, but others pointed out how closely the details matched. The name, location, timing, it all lined up enough to make people pause. Just like that, what once sounded like speculation started being viewed differently. Not confirmed truth, but something people felt deserved a second look. For Samantha, this seemed to support what she'd been saying for years. What many dismissed as frustration now looked to some like concern over details that didn't fully add up. That magazine page became a major talking point. Printed material carries weight. It's fixed and doesn't just disappear like posts online. Still, it's important to stay grounded. One detail doesn't rewrite a whole story, but it does add another layer. And that's why attention kept growing. Now it feels like two versions are being compared side by side. One is the official timeline, clear and structured, while the other comes from memories and older material that don't always match perfectly. The official version is clear. Meghan is listed as born August 4th, 1981, with a smooth timeline through school, early roles, and global fame in her 30s. On paper, everything flows exactly how you'd expect.
Out at media because I felt that no matter what we said, everything I said in the beginning was favorable, nobody printed.
But there's another perspective. Some who say they remember things differently and believe certain details deserve a closer look. Samantha and Thomas describe a version that isn't polished. In their view, Meghan wasn't just a teen in the mid-90s. They suggest she moved more like a young adult, and that's where the story splits. In one version, everything lines up neatly. Ages, milestones, major moments. In the other, the numbers shift just enough to make people pause. That difference isn't small. Some believe it could even change how key moments are seen, which is why the debate keeps growing. Now it feels like two timelines side by side, one clean and widely accepted, the other more personal and complicated. Naturally, people keep asking which version is closer to the truth. Official records stay the standard, but the alternative view keeps resurfacing through personal accounts. Older materials and interpretations don't always match the public version, and that's where things get bigger. Once people start comparing timelines, a new question pops up. How do major life events fit into each version? When Meghan's pregnancy was announced, it looked like a perfect moment. Headlines celebrated it, photos were flawless, and everything felt like a real-life fairy tale. But some looked at it differently. If alternative age ideas were even slightly true, the timing could shift, and that sparks more questions, not claims. From a general view, later life pregnancies often involve more care. So when people compare that to the calm, polished public image, they notice a contrast. Everything looked smooth. Professional photos, quick recovery moments, all very controlled and almost too perfect. And that's what keeps people talking. Some see it as smart privacy, others think it leaves questions hanging. Once again, it all comes down to interpretation. Even small details added curiosity, like limited medical info and carefully managed appearances. None of this proves anything, but it shows how one question keeps leading to another. When timelines don't fully match, people start revisiting everything tied to them. And once that begins, it's hard to stop digging deeper. It stops being just about numbers. It turns into perception, presentation, and how stories are shaped for the public eye.
Well, great. At 43, it's interesting to have an epiphany about divorce so long ago.
When everything feels too smooth, some start wondering what's happening behind the scenes. Not extreme, just more real and less polished than what's shown. Then things took another turn. Details about the birth started getting attention, especially from Prince Harry's memoir. The moment was described as calm and cinematic. Soft lighting, music, everything flowing perfectly, with Meghan calm and composed the whole time. It sounded effortless, like everything fell into place. But that's where the conversation shifted. Some with medical knowledge pointed out parts that don't fully match typical hospital routines. Not claims, just observations that sparked curiosity. Even top hospitals follow strict protocols. After certain procedures, patients are usually monitored closely, and recovery isn't instant. That contrast is what keeps people questioning and looking closer. When the story described a very fast recovery and quick departure, it caught attention. Many noted patients are usually expected to rest and regain strength before moving around freely. That's standard. But in the memoir, the timeline felt compressed. Meghan was described as recovering quickly, looking energized, and leaving not long after. It all sounded smooth, almost too smooth. That's what got people talking. Some think the story was simplified for storytelling. Others believe certain details stayed private. Both are possible, and nothing is confirmed. Still, when people break it down, the timing feels tighter than expected. From delivery to recovery to leaving, everything seemed to happen in a short window, raising eyebrows for those familiar with typical timelines. There's also the practical side. Leaving a secure hospital in London involves coordination, checks, and planning, especially with a newborn. Add travel into it, and it gets even more complex. The trip to Frogmore Cottage plus recovery and paperwork makes the timeline feel even tighter. That leads to one big question. Why did everything seem so fast? Was it privacy and efficiency, or a story focused more on emotion than exact timing? Even some supporters say the timeline stands out, not as criticism, just something that feels unusual compared to general expectations. It's a mix of storytelling, public interpretation, and general knowledge. What keeps people talking is how one detail leads to another. When a timeline feels off, it quickly turns into a puzzle. That's what drives the search for answers. Some say it's about privacy, others think it's about controlling the narrative. But either way, the precision can feel almost too perfect. When something as major as a birth seems tightly presented, people start wondering what else might be shaped for the spotlight. Not a claim, just a question that keeps coming up. A fast, flawless recovery makes a strong headline. It fits the image and keeps things smooth, but real life is usually more layered, and people notice that gap. This goes beyond one moment. It connects to how public figures build their image over time. Reinvention isn't new, but some feel Meghan's shift from actress to royal figure looked highly structured. Every interview and appearance added to a very specific image. That's often called image management. Many public figures use it, but when everything lines up perfectly, it makes people wonder how much is truly organic. That raises the question, how much is natural and how much is shaped behind the scenes? By the time the royal spotlight hit, Meghan's image looked fully polished, confident, composed, ready. But Samantha and Thomas describe something different. They remember more layers, more imperfections, more real-life detail, and that contrast keeps the conversation alive. Now, it's bigger than one moment. It's two perspectives that don't fully match existing at the same time. One version is official and widely accepted. The other comes from personal memories and older material that feel less polished but more real to those sharing them. And that's where it gets complicated. Once a story goes global, it's hard to reshape. People don't usually question what already feels settled. That's why these alternative views stand out, not because they prove anything, but because they challenge a story that once seemed clear. Some see that as important, others call it speculation, and both reactions are happening at the same time. When you line everything up, the family accounts, timelines, discussions, the magazine detail, even the birth story, it starts to form a pattern some find hard to ignore. None of this is solid proof, but it's enough to keep people talking. At this point, it's not about one claim anymore. It's about how narratives are built and maintained. When a story is repeated over and over, it becomes the version most people accept without question. and anything that doesn't fit starts to feel out of place, even if it sparks real curiosity. Maybe this was never just about age or timelines. Maybe it's something bigger, how public figures shape their image and how stories get refined for the spotlight. When everything is constantly watched and analyzed, it gets harder to separate perception from reality. And now it's your turn to weigh in. Do you think there's more to this story, or is it all just speculation that grew too big? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think. If you found this interesting, make sure to like, subscribe, and share so more people can join the conversation.